we all know how to recite the Mangala-charana? Yes? Does everyone know what the Mangala-charana is? So if you turn to your Bhagavad-gitas, in the very beginning of the introduction, if anyone doesn't have a Gita, thank you, there's Gitas there. Go to the beginning of your Gitas, and this is the prayer. Mangala means auspicious. So by reciting this prayer, before we discuss Bhagavad-gita, we invoke auspiciousness. We invoke the mercy of the Lord and his eternal associates, the acharyas, to help purify our consciousness so we can understand this profound and sacred message. So has everyone got their Mangala-charana open to the right page? Yeah? So we will start with saying Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 3 times, and then we'll recite the Mangala-charana. So you can repeat Om Namo Bhagavate after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All of you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll do the Mangala-charana, and that we can recite together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Great. Hare Radha Shakti. You can sit here and recite the verse if you want. Thank you. So we're doing, you can turn your Bhagavad-gitas to chapter 11, text 53. Chapter 11, text 53. So that's be too small for you. Yeah. Can anyone lend Radha Shakti a Bhagavad-gita? Can you bring her one? Is that okay? Haribo Abby. So we just, yeah. Do you need help seeing it? Can you see it?
Let's see if I can see it.
Okay. I'll get someone else to recite the Sanskrit and you can do the English. Okay. Do we have anyone who enjoys reading Sanskrit? Would you like to read the verse? Okay. So you need to take the mic. That's okay. I understand. And you can pass the mic to other people, so keep it with you. Sure, we'll get you. So if you read the Sanskrit, and then with each line, we will repeat after this lady. So you can open your Bhagavad-gitas to 1153. She will read a line, she'll pause, and then we'll repeat the same line. These verses are very purifying because they're the words directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Krishna is absolute. He and his words are absolute. So it's like having darshan of the Lord when we recite these verses. So please go ahead, Mataji.
Naham viderna
53.
tapasa
Naham vedena tapasa.
Na-
53.
anachi
Na danena na cheyaja.
sakya iva
Sakya evam vidu drashtum.
drishta asimam yatha.
Drishtvan asimam yata. Can you do the word for word? Or give it to Abby to do the word for word.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Vedai,
Vede,
by study of the Vedas.
by study of the Vedas.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Tapasa,
Tapasa,
by serious penances.
by serious penances.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Danena,
Danena,
by charity.
by charity.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Ijyaya,
Echaya,
by worship.
by worship.
Shakya,
Sakya,
it is possible.
it is possible.
Evam vidha,
Evam vidha,
like this.
like this.
Drashtum,
Drashtum,
to see.
to see.
Drishtavan,
Drishtavan,
seeing.
seeing.
Asi,
Asi,
you are.
you are.
Mam,
Mum,
me.
me.
Yata,
Yata,
as.
as. Fantastic, thank you. So Radha Shakti is going to read the English once, and then she'll read the English again, and the second time we will repeat after her.
The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Yeah? Okay. So, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes
The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes
cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas,
cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas,
nor by undergoing serious penances,
nor by undergoing serious penances,
nor by charity,
nor by charity,
nor by worship.
nor by worship.
It is not by these means
It is not by these means
that one can see me as I am.
that one can see me as I am. So we've had a lady do everything so far. We need a gentleman to volunteer to read the purport nice and loud, and we need to give you the microphone so you can talk into the microphone. There we are, a devotee who's volunteered. Prabhu, I think I know you. Prabhu, what is your name? I think I... So yes, exactly. Hare Krishna. So if you'd like to read the purport, thank you. I think you need to turn it on.
Hello?
Yes.
Krishna first appeared before his parents Devaki and Vasudeva in a four-handed form, and then he transferred himself into the two-handed form. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualifications, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to temple to offer worship. They may make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as Krishna explained by himself in the next verse.
Thank you so much. And maybe you can hold that and give it to the next person who raises their hand. So I'm going to read the translation one more time, and I'm going to ask for you to please think and tell me in your own words what Krishna is saying in this translation. So look at your Gitas yourself. When we hear Krishna, Prabhupada says when we hear, if we try to explain what he is saying in our own words, that assists us to hear better. Otherwise, we hear and we're not thinking, it goes in one ear and out the other. It may not even go in the first ear, actually. It may kind of bounce off because we're thinking about other things. But when we make a determination to try to explain in our own words without adding anything and without taking anything away, just Krishna's meaning, that helps our hearing. So I'm going to ask all of us to practice this. My dear sir, would you like to come here so that you're in the front? Thank you. And yes, so I'm going to read it aloud, and all of you think, and then I'm going to ask for a volunteer. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So, what is Krishna saying there in your own words? Who would like to tell me what Krishna is saying? Yes, please do.
So, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that the form that he is seeing, he has been given special eyes by Krishna to be able to envision this form. So now he is saying that we cannot understand Krishna as he is by scrutinizingly trying to understand the Vedic literatures, nor by one goes through a lot of austerity of Ashtanga yoga and all different methods of yogas which are very difficult to perform. He's saying you can't see me even in this way, nor you can see me by helping people who are suffering, like giving donations, or people who are very poor, give them food or clothing, like this. Even by doing work like this, we can't see Krishna as he is.
Okay. So let's make a note of this. I want you to put up your fingers with me, the different ways we can't know Krishna. Arjuna has been given a chance to see Krishna. He saw him in his Vishwarup, he saw him in his Narayan form, four-armed, and then he saw Krishna's two-armed form. And Krishna is saying, you can see this, but no one can unsee this form by any of which methods. So Radha Shakti said some of them. Studying the Vedas. So let's say it together. We can't know Krishna by studying the Vedas. Okay. We can't know Krishna by, what's the next thing? Serious penance. Fasting, standing on one leg, whatever we do for penance. We can't see Krishna like that. What's the next thing we can't see Krishna? By giving charity. So we come to the temple, we give a donation, but that's not going to help us to see Krishna. And we can't see Krishna, how else? By worship. Oh my God. So where does that leave us then? We can't just come here and do the puja, and come for the arti and expect to see Krishna. So where does that leave us? We're going to talk about this. And then Krishna emphasizes in the next sentence, it is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So we can't see Krishna just by coming and putting a donation. We can't see Krishna just by coming for the arti ceremony. We can't see Krishna by studying the Rig Veda and this Veda. We can't see Krishna by severe penances. Do we all agree that's what Krishna is saying? Yeah? Okay, so now let's go to the purport and see what Prabhupada says. And I'd like someone, maybe a gentleman again, because we've had more ladies than men. And who's got the mic? Okay, so would the gentleman like to volunteer to read a bit of the purport at a time and stop? And we're going to go over the purport. Go ahead. Yeah, no, you go ahead. He's already done it once. He's done it. All you're doing is reading. All you're doing is reading. All you're doing is reading. It's not hard. Okay, we'll give it to a lady. No, let's give it to another lady. And would you like to read it? Okay, let's give it to a lady. Someone who hasn't read. Oh, that's okay. You're with friends. Do we have a volunteer to read a bit of the purport at a time? Someone who's not read already. Do you want to read? Yeah, go ahead. Get the mic from whoever's got it. Are you going to read or not? Yeah, I just. Oh, okay. 11:53. Okay. 11:53. Read the purport, just a few sentences.
From the beginning, yeah?
Just read a few sentences of the purport, but put the mic to your mouth.
Krishna first appeared before his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, in a four-handed form, and then he transformed himself into the two-handed form. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service.
Okay, we pause there. So what is Prabhupada saying? You know, I'm so grateful that you pious souls are spending this Friday evening, it is Friday evening, right? This Saturday evening in Krishna's temple. You know, the impious souls are in the pubs and the discotheques and the steakhouses, but you're here. Now, if you want to get the maximum benefit from your visit, hear attentively the Gita. And the best way to hear attentively is to repeat what you've heard. Otherwise, you'll leave here and you won't remember anything. But if you repeat something, you will remember that. And that will help you. So we've read 2 sentences of the purport. I'll read those 2 sentences again. And then I'd like a volunteer, preferably someone who's not yet spoken. And we'll give you the mic, and you tell me in your own words what Prabhupada says. So let's read those 2 sentences again. Krishna first appeared before his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, in a 4-handed form, and then he transformed himself into the 2-handed form. So just that, what is Prabhupada saying? A hand up. Nice, thank you. Any other hands up? Okay, so let's give the mic to Mataji. One of you is going to have to get up. Fantastic. What, in that one sentence, what is Prabhupada saying? You need to turn it on.
To Devaki and Vasudeva, he appeared in 400 form.
Who did? Okay.
And then
Okay, it's gone off again. It's gone off.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. And then he transformed into 2 form.
Okay, so when Krishna first appeared, Krishna Janma, he first appeared fully grown as Lord Narayan with his 4 arms, his lotus flower, his conch, his club. What's the other thing he holds in the other hand? His lotus and his chakra. Yes, so his conch, his club, his lotus, and his chakra. And he was helmeted, garlanded. Have you ever seen a baby born like that? That's how he first appeared from Devaki's womb. And then afterwards, he transformed into the form of a baby. Yeah? So that's what the Shastra, the scriptures, tells us, that was the birth of the Lord Krishna. Okay? So let's give this to Prabhu in the saffron to read the next bit.
For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of...
Can you start from this mystery? Is very difficult.
Oh, sorry. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualifications. Krishna is not possible to understand.
Okay, thank you. So what is Prabhupada telling us there? Would you like to tell us what Prabhupada is saying?
For a mundane, Prabhupada is saying from mundane aspirations and knowledge that this is not how we're going to understand Krishna.
Yeah, if I tell a scientist, my dear sir, when Krishna was born 5,000 years ago, he came out of his mother's womb as a fully grown, four-handed being, holding these weapons with a helmet. What do people say? They say, this is mythology. Yeah? They don't believe it's true. Do you believe it's true? Who here thinks it may be a little mythology? Just a little bit of mythology. Yeah. Anyone else think it could just be a little bit of mythology in there? Who believes with hand on heart this is exactly what happened? Anyone else? You believe? Wonderful. Anyone? You believe? Okay, wonderful. So then we've got a lot of abstainers. Not sure if they believe or they don't believe. We had a few who said it's a little mythology and a few, no, absolutely fact. And many who said, not sure. Okay, fantastic. So we need another volunteer. Mataji, you've got such a, with the yellow jacket, you've got such a beautiful smile. Can I induce you to read a bit? Yeah? Can I? Okay, let's give you the... and everyone will see that she will not fall down and die because she read. She'll be fine. So you can also read. She doesn't have a...
My eyesight will help me. But
Oh, you can try your best. And if she can't, then you can help her. Oh, okay. Okay, but her children can help her. Okay, but you need to talk into the mic.
hello.
Turn it on.
Hello.
Yep, you got
Krishna.
it.
Yeah. Do you want to read?
Go ahead. Krishna is not possible to understand.
Yeah, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to the temple to offer worship.
Okay, let's pause there.
Yeah.
Who can't understand Krishna?
Even people.
Yeah. And they go there officially. So it's my duty as a Hindu. Yeah? It's my duty. And how many here come like that? Krishna says. Yeah? Anyone here does that? Officially comes to the temple? Anyone here? No, we're all serious practice. Good. But this is what Krishna Prabhupada is saying. So just officially coming to the temple is not going to help us understand Krishna. Do you know what Krishna says in chapter 4, text 9? Who knows that by heart? He says, go to your Gita, chapter 4, text 9. Whoever finds it first, tell me. We need to give you the mic. Can someone give him the mic? Can you give him the mics, because people online also need to hear you.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
This verse is telling us the value of understanding Krishna. Now, in this verse, he's telling us the ways we can't understand him. That verse is telling us the benefit of understanding him. What is the benefit of understanding him? What will happen to us if we do understand him? We won't take birth again. Anyone fancy taking birth again in this material world? Where at any minute there can be Third World War, there's COVID going around, and maybe another bacteria or virus going around, where there's water shortages. Anyone fancy taking birth here again? Anyone would like to get out of here? Anyone would like to get, oh, you like it, I'd like to get out, double hands, please. And not just get out of here, where does Krishna says, if you understand me, where does he say we'll go? to his eternal abode of Satchit Ananda. Who knows what Satchit Ananda means? Eternal bliss and knowledge. So we have an option. We can choose not to understand Krishna and take birth again in this miserable place. Or we can choose to understand Krishna and never take birth again in this place, but go back to his eternal abode. So that's our choice. And in this verse, Krishna is telling us the things that are not going to help us. The next verse, he tells us what will help us, and we're going to see if we can touch on that too. So just officially worshipping is not going to help us get out of this dump. But so we need to know that. We need to know so that we can like if you want to know how to become, drive a car, you have to know the method for getting your driving license. We have to know there's a method, and these things are not their method. So where are we up to in the purport? Who's got the mic? Okay, anyone else? Can we have, Abby, come on, you volunteered to read a bit. Can you volunteer to read the next bit? Give her. Okay, so read the next bit. We did that. They make their visit, but.
They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is.
Read the rest.
Oh, okay. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself in the next verse.
Okay, so what is Prabhupada saying?
So he's referring to the people that go to the temple, and he's saying that just because they're going to the temple, it doesn't mean that they can fully kind of realize actually that Krishna, Krishna in his kind of in its full understanding. And then the next sentence, Prabhupada's saying that is only by devotional service that we can understand Krishna. And
Okay.
Then the next verse will explain that.
So just visiting the temple, Prabhupada says, will not help us to understand the truths about Krishna. We have to engage in devotional service. And he says that will be explained in the next verse. But I want to get onto that, and I would like to try to make it a little bit easier for you to understand. What is the devotional service that we need to do to understand Krishna? Who knows what that is? Let's make it, unpack it. Let's make it as easy as we can to know exactly what it is I have to do to get out of this dump and go back to Krishna's eternal abode. What is devotional service? We need to give you a mic. Were you going to say something? Yeah, okay, let's give you the mic. Can anyone volunteer to carry the mic around to people? Any volunteers to help with that? Okay, great.
In terms of performing devotional service, it says in the purport, this form, and it says, seeing with your transcendental eyes. So,
should we just Jai Shishi Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai, Shishi Gonitai Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
So it talks about Krishna's transcendental eyes. So in terms of sense gratification, which is when we serve ourselves, but we have to serve Krishna's senses.
Okay, we have to serve Krishna's senses.
To please Krishna.
To please Krishna. Thank you so much. We have to serve Krishna's senses to please Krishna. Now, if I'm intrinsically a selfish person, how am I going to change that selfishness to act for Krishna's pleasure? Where does it start? Where does devotional service start? What practical steps? Because I can say, I'm cooking this wonderful feast for Krishna, but in my heart of hearts, I know it's really for me. That's my favorite sabji. I like them puris like that, So how can I really get to the point where genuinely I'm doing things for Krishna's pleasure? What is the steps I need to take to be able to act only for Krishna's pleasure? Yes?
So we can chant the holy name, and that really helps. and hear about Krishna, because that purifies our desires to wanting to please our own self, and it changes it to turn into pleasing Krishna instead.
So you're saying, chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And hearing about Krishna, because that hearing purifies us. Yes? Now, in the verse we're studying today, it says, not by study of the Vedas. So is that the same as hearing about Krishna? Is there any difference? This Bhagavad-gita is the Vedas, is not Vedas? It is. So because what Radha Shakti said was wonderful. Shravanam, hearing, and Kirtanam, speaking. So what's the difference between Shravanam and study of the Vedas? Anyone can help me? Go ahead.
The thing is, the Vedas, for most, maybe 70% of it, it's about making some pious activities like sacrifices, fruitive activities to purify our sinful reactions. So it's like more like karma kanda. It's just being from animal to human life, kind of like promote oneself to human life. But there's much more to that.
Wonderful.
Bhagavad-gita is part of the Vedas, which is
okay, so you're saying
describing
much of
different
the Vedas is to do with material sense enjoyment, but in a pious way. But Bhagavad-gita is about transcendental knowledge. So that's the difference. It's not about enjoying in a pious way. It's about knowing God. Did I understand you correctly? Very nice. And there's something else. Even Bhagavad-gita, we can read the verses of Bhagavad-gita and not understand it. We have to understand real Shravanam means to hear from the Lord and his pure devotee. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, I don't know how many of you got smartphones. The Manor password is Manor 1973. So if you want to use your smartphones in the most beneficial way, use it to go to Vedabase, and you can go to chapter 4, text 22, verse 22. Who knows how to do that? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 22, text 22. Okay, you got it? Okay, we need to give you the mic. Read the English, yes.
Attachment for the Supreme can be increased by practicing devotional service, inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applying Bhakti Yoga in life, worshipping the Yogeshwara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by hearing and chanting about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These actions are pious in themselves.
Is that 4:22:22?
Yes.
Okay, look in the purport. It should have that one should hear from a pure devotee, the caliber of devotee one has to hear from. One must hear from a pure devotee who has nothing to do with this material world.
Yes.
Okay, can you read that?
One should take shelter of a pure devotee who has nothing to do with this material world, but is simply engaged in devotional service. By serving him only, one can transcend the qualitative material condition.
Yes, by serving him only. And then only by serving the pure devotee of the Lord who has transcended the three modes of nature. This is where pure devotion begins. And the next sentence, he tells us, what is that service look like?
It is recommended that one serve the lotus feet of the topmost yogi or the devotee. To serve the topmost devotee means to hear from him about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. It all starts with hearing from the topmost devotee. And that's why Srila Prabhupada has left us his transcendental purports. We're not just reading the shlokas of the Gita. Because even impersonalists can read those and misinterpret Krishna's message. You know, even politicians sometimes use Gita to give their own political interpretation or message. But when Prabhupada gives us Bhagavad Gita, he gives it as it is. He gives us the real import. And by hearing from him, our devotional service begins. This is the beginning of unalloyed devotion. Hearing from Prabhupada's Gita. Hearing his explanation, how to know God, how to love him. Who can go, use your smartphones to go to Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 30. Okay, we need to give you the mic. And I want you to read the last paragraph when we speak of hearing and chanting. Go ahead.
Okay. Last paragraph, yeah?
Yeah, when we speak of hearing and chanting.
Sorry, I cannot find. Do you know where is it?
The last paragraph. It's got like all the offences.
2:30. When we speak of hearing and chanting, we do not mean just hearing and chanting the holy names like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
When we speak of hearing and chanting, it means that not only should one chant and hear or the holy name of the Lord as Rama, Krishna, or systematically the 16 names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But one should also read and hear the Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. The primary practice of bhakti yoga will cause the seed already sown in the heart to sprout. And by a regular watering process, as mentioned above, the bhakti yoga creeper will begin to grow. By the systematic nurturing, the creeper will grow to such an extent that it will penetrate the coverings of the universe, as we have heard in the previous verses, reach the effulgent sky, the Brahma Jyoti, and go farther and farther and reach the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Lokas. Above all of them is Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan, wherein the growing creeper enters and takes repose at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead. When one reaches the lotus feet of Lord Krishna at Goloka Vrindavan, the watering process of hearing and reading, as also chanting of the holy name in the pure devotional stage, fructifies, and the fruits grown there in the form of love of God are tangibly tasted by devotee, even though he is here in this material world. The ripe fruits of love of God are released only by the devotees constantly engaged in the watering process as described above.
So here he's making it very clear. Remember, up to now we've realized that if we understand Krishna, we don't take birth again, but we go to his abode. We can't understand Krishna just by officially worshipping and putting something in the donation box. That's nice, but that's not enough. Now we're being told very clearly what we have to do for our hearts to gradually blossom into love of God and take us out of here to Goloka. What is the primary process that she just read about? Who heard it? What are the primary two things we have to do for this benefit to achieve this benefit? Anyone else? Okay, Radha Shakti.
Okay. Yeah. So we heard that we need to hear from pure devotee who is Uttama Adhikari, and also chant the glories, Hare Krishna mantra as well.
So we have to hear from the pure devotee, and we have to chant the Maha Mantra. These are the two primary processes. And this is the difference between officially visiting the temple and coming here to get the benefit of bhakti. Officially visiting means we come and do a little darshan, we stand during arti, the arti's gone, we're gone. We put our donation, and as soon as the arti's finished, we're gone. We go get Mahaprasad, we go home. Bhakti means we stay and we engage in understanding Bhagavad-gita. We study Bhagavad-gita. Every single evening there is a Bhagavad-gita class here at 6 p.m. And if you can't come here to do it, because I can't come here to do it every evening, we can do it at home. I want you to go to chapter 13 in your Gitas, text 8 to 12. It's a very long purport, 8 to 12. So whoever finds this paragraph first can tell me they can read the paragraph. Go to 13, 8 to 12, and it's a long purport, but there's one paragraph that begins, as far as detachment from family home is concerned, as far as detachment from wife, family, home. 13, 8 to 12. Have you got that? Yeah. Oh, okay, let's give you the mic. We need the mic over here. As for detachment from children, wife, and home. Please read that nice and loud. And you can go up until when it says stop, when it says but, if it is not congenial. Don't read that, just carry on until that sentence. Are you okay to read? As for detachment from children, wife, and home. It's quite a way into the purport. Has anyone found it? I found it. You have found it? Okay. 13, text 8 to 12. Yes. Pleasure. I'm so glad you're finding it. Good job. If you found it, read it along with him. Go ahead.
As for detachment from children, wife, and home, it is not meant that one should have no feelings for these. They are natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness.
Did you hear that? The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. Now, Prabhupada, if anyone's having any problems at home with the kids or the wife or the husband, he's going to give you some really valuable advice, and it works. I tell you, I've been married for 40 years. For the first 15 years, we didn't follow this advice, and we had nothing but trouble. So the last, however many years, we've followed this advice, and our family life has been peaceful and harmonious. This advice really works. Listen to it. He gives you 4 tips, and this is the essence of bhakti. If you don't come to the temple every night for the Gita class, do this at home with your family. Please read it nice and clear, and everyone read along with him.
As for detachment from children...
From the point where you are. The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness.
The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. If one is in full Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy, because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay, just pause there. These are very easy. You come together in the evening, and before you put the TV on, you just sit with your family for 20 minutes in front of your altar and chant Hare Krishna together. Just sit down, and you see how it's done at the temple, that they do it at the temple so that we can learn how to do it at home. You can put the TV on afterwards, but just 20 minutes give to Krishna in the evening. Sit together and chant Hare Krishna. What's the next thing we have to do?
Accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna.
Okay, accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. How many people here are vegetarian at home? You're already vegetarian. You are 90% there. Now offer your food to God before you eat it. You can have a picture of Panchatattva, of Krishna, of Prabhupada. We always offer it through the spiritual master, because Krishna doesn't accept from someone who's not pure. We offer our bhoga. When it's not offered, it's called bhoga. We offer it to Prabhupada. We put a nice plate, especially for Krishna, that we don't eat from. We put the preparations after we cook, before we taste it, and we have a picture of Prabhupada and Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, and we say a prayer, offering it to the Lord to eat first. We leave it there 5 minutes, we take it off, we transfer it, we wash the Lord's plate, and then we eat. We eat the Lord's prasad. This is the second tip Prabhupada gives. First is come together and chant Hare Krishna. Second tip is offer your food. Eat prasadam, don't eat boga. What's the third tip?
Have some discussion on books like Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes. Discuss even one sentence. Read one verse, read it together like we're now, and have your glasses, and get the children involved, and say, okay, what is Prabhupada telling us? Do I accept it? Don't I accept it? Do I have any questions? Then when you come to the temple and you meet the devotees who are studying the Gita, you can bring your questions from home. Oh, Prabhuji, I was studying it at home and we had this question. Can you help us? This, now you're not an official visitor anymore. Now you're a bhakta. And by such bhakti, you will be able to see Krishna. And the last thing?
And engage oneself in deity worship.
Yes. So you have whether you have a picture of Krishna or you have a little murti of Gaunitai, you offer your food, maybe you offer some incense to the Lord, a flower. Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam, offer me a leaf, a flower, and I will accept it. This is easy. 4 things. I call it the 4 wheels of happy marriage. And this is the essence of bhakti. We can do it at home. We come to the temple to learn how to do it. And by doing this, we will see Krishna. I want to read you a letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote to a disciple of his. And let me see if I can bring it up very quickly. He says, this is a letter he wrote in 72 to one of his disciples. Try to always study our books and see our philosophy from different lights of directions. Become convinced yourself of this knowledge, and without a doubt, all of your difficulties of mind will disappear forever, and you will see Krishna face to face. And we begin by seeing Krishna's face. We don't see him face to face. I mean, we do, but we don't realize we're seeing him when we see the murti. But we will begin to, if we do these 4 things Prabhupada says, which is the essence of bhakti, this is unalloyed devotion. If we do it, we will see Krishna's hand in our lives. We will see that those situations that vex us, and we think, there is no way out of this. I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, between a rock, hard place and a rock. It's just like there's no escape. Because how many of you have been in that? I know I've been in that situation in my life where I think, there's no solution to this. I'm damned. Whatever I do, I'm only face suffering. But taking shelter of this, I'm beginning to see Krishna's hand in my life. I see how Krishna works miracles. And that's the difference between a bhakta who does this and someone who just tries to understand Krishna through academic knowledge. Because Krishna says, go to Bhagavad-gita 10:9, chapter 10, text 9, and 10 and 11. And whoever finds it, will give you the microphone, someone new. And let's see what Krishna says in 10:9. Anyone ready to read? Any volunteers to read? Okay, we got a volunteer there, but we need to give you the Gita. Who was it who was reading? Okay, we're just going to give you the Gita. The microphone. Thank you. So read 10:9 first.
The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me.
Just pause there. So here Krishna is saying what his unalloyed devotees do. Their aim is to go back to him. They don't want to take another birth here to be a rich man or to be powerful. They want to go back to him. And the way they do it is by always enlivening one another, talking about him, enlightening one another, speaking about him. To enlighten means to share knowledge about God. Is that what it says? 10:9? Everyone see? Now hear what Krishna says in 10:10 and 10:11. This is something he does only for such people. He doesn't do it for the official visitor to the temple. The official visitor to the temple does not experience what Krishna does for this bhakta. But anyone, if we take this message of making our commitment, my dear Lord, this life I want to attain you. And I will study Bhagavad-gita with my family, and we will enliven each other and enlighten each other about you. This is what Krishna promises. Please read 10:10.
To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Yes, and the next one. 10:11.
To show them special mercy, I dwell in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance.
Yes, he only does this for these bhaktas. That within our hearts, the Lord resides in all our hearts. He gives us the intelligence how to get out of the unget-outable, how to make the best of a situation which is bad, how to create auspiciousness from inauspiciousness. He gives that intelligence, and we will see our life transform from this to that. I remember back in the 90s, when I was in the most difficult times, I felt like a rocket ship on a nosedive to Earth, crash, going for a crash. But I took real shelter of this promise. And I saw that the Lord worked miracles, both internally within myself and externally. And he brought my life right out of that into, harmony and then happiness. And you know what? That's possible for each of us. It doesn't matter what our background is. It doesn't matter what our circumstances are. Our circumstances are trivia for the Supreme Lord. If we take shelter of pure devotion, which begins with hearing and chanting, hearing from the Mahabhagavat like Prabhupada, I don't know if I have time to tell you one little anecdote, but I have heard this from two of Prabhupada's disciples, and they've written it in their memoirs of Prabhupada, that one time Prabhupada didn't get his vaccination. He was going from South Africa to India, and there was some vaccination that he needed to get into India, and his disciples had failed to tell him that, and he hadn't got it. So he had to go into quarantine when he arrived in Mumbai. And when one of his disciples had their vaccinations, but not Prabhupada, so they weren't in quarantine, but Prabhupada was. And one day when they went to see him to take him prasad, Prabhupada said, I never wanted to come to this horrible place. And the disciple felt guilty. He thought, oh, he's talking about the quarantine place. He said, oh, Prabhupada, I'm so sorry. It was my bad, my mix-up. I should have arranged your vaccination. Please forgive me. And Prabhupada said to him, no, I didn't mean this place. I meant the material world. He said, I was with Krishna. I never wanted to come to the material world. But Krishna said to me, if you will just go down there and give them these books, I will arrange for everything for you. So I came to give you these books. These books are sent to us by the Lord through his pure devotee Prabhupada. These books, if we discuss them and study them and follow the teachings in them and try to understand them, Krishna promises from within our hearts he will help us. We will go back home to him. We don't have to take another birth in this miserable material world. So please take that seriously. Don't be an official visitor. Get your Bhagavad-gitas, get your Japamala, come to the temple, see how we chant Hare Krishna, see how we do a Gita discussion. The days you can't come here, do it at home. Become happy, liberate your family.